Welcome everyone to PureLink University. This is the Architecture of Control, Designing the Intelligent Meeting Room webinar. I am Tyler Small. I am a technical support specialist here at PureLink, specializing in our line of control software and products, which is something we will dive into alongside just the overarching topic of control and control automation, conference room settings. But we will be discussing specifically the advancements in that technology, both at our company and overall in the world, and in some cases, the lack of for certain companies. So before we get into the actual topic of today, we just wanted to do a brief background into the history of PureLink. So for all those, whether you know a little, a lot, or nothing about PureLink, our story started decades ago, back in 2002, where our visionary founder, Min-Soo Park, identified a weakness in the original HDCP specification. Recognizing the lack of support for commercial applications, he partnered with Intel to reshape its future, setting the stage for our pioneering role in the AV world. As you can see here, we'll go through the timeline of all of the inventions or innovation that this company has been able to be at the forefront of, starting back in 2002, creating the world's first DVI to fiber cable, 2005, inventing large-scale DVI matrix switching, 2006, invented HDCP matrix switching and EDID emulation, which worked with the technology for the first time of its type for being able to cross-platform matrix switch and all the things that we see now as an easy day-to-day occurrence. 2008, we invented cross-platform digital modular matrix switching. 2012, they pioneered RS-232 over fiber or HD-based-T. The next year, pioneered UHD matrix switching extension and invented the world's first 256 by 256 cross-platform digital modular matrix switcher, which is still a size of matrix switcher that we are producing today. For reference back at home, it's the size of your refrigerator. In 2014, the industry's first 4K AV over IP CAT and fiber encoders, decoders, and network switchers were invented by PureLink. 2015, invented proprietary UHD scaling. 2016, pioneered UHD 4K60 4x4x4 HDMI matrix switching. 2017, they were the first UHD 4K30 4x4x4 CAT fiber alongside with HD-based-T extension. In 2018, it was the first fixed frame AV over IP network 4K60. In 2019, the first modular AV over IP network switch. 2021, the first seamless presentation switcher. In 2022, the first 8K DisplayPort HDMI fiber cable. And then in 2023, as we are going to talk more about today, the launch of Icon control and automation. So from going from point to point cabling and extension alongside matrix switching, then we launched our own control software and hardware to be able to go with the products. And then in 2024, we have been at the forefront of USB-C and Dante solutions. The brands here at PureLink are specified into several different groups. Icon, as we just mentioned, is our controller software and the proprietary IDE with its one-of-a-kind, award-winning at Infocom Easy Control. And that launched the Push-Go initiative, which we will get into further along in this presentation. Max2 and Pure Media are our current lines of those matrix switchers, ranging in sizes of 20 by 20 to 256 by 256 ports. PureStream is our AV over IP equipment. HD Tools is more of our point-to-point matrix switchers, so HDMI, HD-based-T, fiber, CAT, what have you. And then Total Wire is our line of top-of-the-line cable brands. And then for our clients, so if you haven't heard of our company, one of the slogans we like to say here at PureLink is that we are the biggest company that you might never have heard of before. And we have, as you see here on the slide, 400 plus clientele alongside a lot of reputable brands, reputable companies that we are very proud to put on this slideshow and talk about for our sense of reliability, for our sense of being at the front of this innovation, and just overall showing that we are battle tested in this field of AV over IP. Now let's go back to our topic for today, the conference room. Conference room, as we all know, is something that each and every person in a company, each and every brand, whether you are a corporate conglomerate, Fortune 500 company, or you are a startup with just a dozen of employees, you need somewhere to meet, and you need somewhere to meet with outside clientele, and you need to be able to look professional. It's something that a lot of people look into, it's a lot of people try for, and there's a lot of costs that go into creating this professional look for your conference room. So some statistics go alongside that. 72% of employees lose meeting time due to tech issues or AV malfunctions. 1 in 4 meeting leaders lose 11 plus minutes just starting the meetings. Managers spend 35 to 50% of time in meetings. Even small disruptions hurt productivity. And this results in hundreds of lost productive hours per room per year, especially in the AV world, as we all know. There's nothing that could look worse in a sales meeting or look worse in just internal tech meetings when your setup is simplified, or if you try to add elements to your setup and there are tech issues that come before you're even trying to get to the tech issues that bring in money at the end of the day. So to obtain those upgrades and to obtain the reliable products that are seen all across the world in these corporate settings that we're comparing ourselves to, integrated AV systems typically cost $18,000 to $50,000 between switchers, cameras, and controllers. Professional AV integration averages 75 to 150 hours. Industry recognized certifications range from $165 to $700 per hour per exam, typically require the use of the software. And then as we look through it, the common AV failures that we see are all problems that could pretty easily be avoided ahead of time or are known problems from the get-go. However, just the recurring problem for them or the constantly faulty equipment, even if you know the issue for it, still is something that is going to take you some time. Could be something as simple as resolution mismatches or errors within the cabling not actually being sound. And these fixes often require time, and you need to sometimes even call support if you are using third-party equipment. And then custom installs are inconsistent. There's no standardization. And there's just several errors that we do see in this. When every room is different, problems multiply at the same time as anything knows, even if it is a copy and paste and slight adjustments, just one adjustment left undone, especially in the world of control, in the world of programming, can lead to a whole array of issues. The perfect example we have of that is what was a non-existing conference room. And again, here at PeerLink, we know that we aren't the only ones that are going through with this, and we deal with the problems ourselves that we try and fix for all the other end users. We had a conference room upstairs, a beautiful space, plenty of square footage that we wanted to upgrade and put it at the top of the line. We wanted to put our money where our mouth is when it comes to us offering all the equipment required for a professional, outstanding conference room. So just over a stretch of time, we were able to upgrade it for a couple of reasons alongside just wanting that conference room. We wanted to be able to have third-party equipment, show our partnership with it for our new control line to show the usability and programmability of these control rooms and show that our point-to-point communication of equipment or list of switchers, cameras, as you see here listed, the PTZ camera on the roof alongside the HuddleCam 500 in the middle, just how it would be applied and how it would compare to some of our competitors. So how did we transform this meeting room from 1 to 2? There was plenty of different ways that we had to do it alongside having the aspects of our company, which are everything from the middle to the end of source to display. But at the same time, we had a lot of control have to be programmed into it. And it took a lot of time for our proprietary software to be put into it. However, we think in a comparable way, it would have outdone the pace and expected timeline for another company that would be coming in, and like we showed those statistics earlier of the money and time spent on getting a custom room built up for a conference room. So alongside using all these third-party products, we saw that our full array of control capabilities for our controller line needed to be tested. Looking through that, obviously a majority of the room was controlled via LAN, but that just is the tip of the iceberg, as we'll get into, for the specific protocols that fall within LAN control. So TCP is something that's very common within the AV world. So majority of our PureLink products, everything that is on the newer stage as well, utilize this TCP protocol and all have available APIs on our website. So utilized in this room was the HTX 38800, Collabora 84K, which is a collaboration bring your own device product, the VIP Cam 3020X, which is that PTZ camera on the ceiling, and the VIP T400's encoders and decoders, which alongside being used for larger scale products, our encoder and decoders and any AV over IP8 encoder or decoders can be utilized as a strong extension point to point without needing to run several hundred feet worth of cable, even if it is just within one room. There was no UDP or WebSocket within this room, but however, as we look to uptick and upscale that, there are definitely products that will utilize this technology. The HuddleCam 500 uses an HTTP protocol, but even for some of our older products that were being used as third-party equipment within the room, the projector on the ceiling, was a Panasonic that is using RS-232 control because it's utilized over the shorter spaces. However, for the speaker, we needed to use RS-485 because it wanted extra noise immunity. Again, all terms that we're going to get into later in this presentation. The IR control controlled some of the simpler control aspects, including the displays or the LED lights you see alongside the wall. The input-output control is controlling the projector screen, and the relay control controls the blinds. So with one controller option and one programmer being able to build the program for you here at PureLink, we were able to upgrade, uptick, and control everything within our conference room setup. But for any of you that are more on the point-to-point side or just don't have a full understanding of what these control protocols are or what they even mean, we will give a brief explanation into that. So to start, let's start with LAN control protocols, the overview and use cases of those. So those three abbreviations and WebSockets, the full word, I suppose, that we were using before. TCP is Transmission Control Protocol, which is a reliable, connection-oriented protocol ideal for guaranteed delivery. This is used commonly in AV switchers or DSPs, which command acknowledgement is critical. It's the majority of the reason why PureLink, the majority of our products will utilize that TCP protocol, because for any user interface you have on a controller that has the capability of knowing which input is active for the matrix switcher or where the audio source is coming from and what volume the audio is at for the speakers inside the room, you need to have that feedback coming from the device so you're not just reliant on what the last status of that value was on your controller. To actually get that back and forth communication and be relaying the information directly from the device if anything changes on its end or something doesn't go through from your command, it's vital to actually have a controller that has that reliability and that sleek professional look. UDP, which is User Datagram Protocol, is a fast connectionless protocol for low latency control, but without delivery guarantees. So instead of having that handshake agreement on a specific channel of communication one-to-one, some products in TCP only allow for one connection to be made. That's kind of an older protocol and older spec of TCP. However, some products still do that. UDP is a way to relay to several different types of, several different types of sources to an end result or vice versa. So example of that is lighting systems or paging triggers when speed matters more than that reliability, like triggering a DMX scene or multicast paging. The third here is HTTP, which is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. That's, as we mentioned before, utilizing a web GUI for a specific product or utilizing just URL control over a network as opposed to just direct API of ASCII, hex, or any of the other languages that would fall within control. This is widely used for RESTful API or browser-based device control. So sending get/post commands to AV over IP decoders or projectors with embedded web GUI control endpoints. And then our fourth that is offered within our Icon controller line is WebSocket control. This is a persistent bidirectional communication channel ideal for real-time updates. So an example of this would be live feedback from occupancy sensors or camera PTZ statuses in a dashboard interface. So just anything that has a lot of data being transferred throughout those web packets, which are just packeted information dumps, if you will. Anything that just needs that live updates, the constant pinging back and forth to ensure that connection. Once we go outside of LAN, however, we have three different options when it comes to serial control ports. RS-232 is the most common and most accepted in AV world. So that is point-to-point serial protocol for short distances, low speed control. So this is used in control projectors as it was in our example we had earlier, alongside older AV switchers or legacy modems via DB9 cables. The DB9 cable is there on the left, that black cable, before the right version is a DB9 as well, but just being run into a Phoenix port where you can custom terminate the cable to go to the specific RX, TX ground channels that you need for your individual product. RS-422 is a full duplex differential protocol supporting longer distance and multiple receivers. So an example of this would be broadcast gear or industrial sensors where one controller sends commands to several devices. As we mentioned, the RS-232 is point-to-point. So if you need that command or that same command being broadcasted out to several different pieces of broadcast equipment in streaming settings, that would be your option. Or RS-485, which is half duplexed, multi-point differential protocol for robust long-distance communication. So an example of this would be building automation systems for HVAC, lighting, other building aspects, or the Biamp to Sierra Nexia DSPs, or access control panels. IR control, the simple one that's in everyone's household, is that exact sending of a specific speed, if you will, of modular light pulses to control devices with IR receivers. So obviously you need that direct point-to-point communication from TX to RX, as we've so frivolously been on our couches at home, slamming the remote. Sometimes it's not the most reliable. However, it is still very much seen in the AV world, despite all the upgrades to several other aspects of televisions, projectors, sound bars. There are a lot of ways that our control system and all control systems alike have an ability to learn those IR codes and relay them across. However, you just need that reliability from point to point, making sure nothing's interrupting. IO control or input-output triggers. This just uses digital or analog signals to detect or trigger events, typically binary. So inputs detecting button presses, sensor triggers, or contact closures. And then the outputs could be something like activating LEDs, buzzers, or sending signals to other systems. So an example where you'd see this in the real world is triggering a room automation scene where a contact closure form at a table button is detected. So just that immediate, if it is getting this button press or if it's receiving this signal to either cut power or keep that electrical current through so that it can be relayed as a trigger. But relay, on the other hand, is our fifth option offered within the Icon controller line. This is the electrical switcher of high voltage or high current circuits using low voltage signals. So an example of this in the real world would be activating motorized shades, powering on amplifiers, or toggling lightning circuits, where it oftenly, as we'll go into our individual products, our port expanders have several of these because this is utilized a lot for those motorized shades or anything else in HVAC at the same time to just be relaying or making the relay port active or inactive to just cut or stop that electrical current. All this went back around to show the control capabilities and why we went with our new initiative, which you see in front of you, the IKEA approach to meeting rooms. Now, what do we mean by that? What if setting up a meeting room was as easy as assembling flat pack furniture? Everything arrives in one box, pre-designed, beautifully organized, and ready to work. So as we talked about in our Pure Space experience, which was the picture before and after you saw before in the slideshow, we offer at PureLink all of the equipment you would need to have your laptop go to a TV with a camera, if that's how simple you want it. Or if you want it more complicated and you want Dante capabilities for the speakers within the conference room, if you have several different microphones and lines for DSPs to be controlled, there's a whole array of types of conference rooms, obviously. And as we talk back to the beginning of the slideshow, where we go into the price points of these packages, they can range drastically. However, there's really not a starting point for that small company or for that company that doesn't want to kick up $50,000 just to not have to be going directly off a laptop to an HDMI directly to the TV. Here at PureLink, since we have all the equipment and we have this proprietary easy language for our control software that we know can make several projects in a quicker and faster pace than most competitors, we feel as though we can bundle this all together, and instead of having to outsource to all these different companies to figure out what is the best specs for you and what you want to be done for your conference room, we could have it all in one box, including the cables, the network switcher, the controller, and everything else in between that you need. We call it push go, because with one push of a button, you could be launched into your meeting. So as I just kind of went over, push go comes pre-programmed. So we would do the programming for you after meeting with the end user or whoever would be the one able to give us the specifications of that control project. So any third-party equipment they need programmed, any special presets they need, what have you. It's a complete solution, includes all essential components for a fully functional meeting space. It's plug and play, deploy in minutes with no technical expertise required, because we even have the IKEA-like manual that shows plug in cable A into port B, and as other aspects as simple as that. Has built-in compatibility, works seamlessly with Zoom, Teams, WebEx, and more. And it's scalable. It adapts to any room type, from small huddle rooms to large presentation environments. So for these meeting room solutions, there's a difference between modular kits and custom installs that we see from our PO requests or just from talking to other people in the field. Custom installs take days to weeks to deploy. High variancy, frequent support calls that come with that until it's just right, where the modular kits are engineered in a lab, install in a single afternoon, easy to replicate, easier to support. So because of that scalability, as we talked about, we have 5 different package solutions so far. Alta, which is our smallest package, which is a core presentation and switching capabilities for seamless collaboration. Taos is the expanded bring your own device support with versatile connectivity options. Aspen, which is the advanced switching for more dynamic and flexible meeting spaces. Veil, which is integrated AI-powered camera, microphone, and soundbar for an all-in-one experience. And Stow, which is our biggest package, which is the comprehensive, high-performing solution featuring professional PTZ cameras, advanced audio, and room scheduling. You could just go into the specifics of these packages here and where we recommend it for the type of project or the type of conference room you envision this being, if you will. And this would go alongside that. We would ask the end user if they're interested just in the push-go package as a whole. So just ease and reliability of the install and the actual aspects of the packages based on what you want to bring yourself or what you already have in your setup, or if you just need everything from scratch. And if you want all the extra bells and whistles. So in that stow package, for example, alongside it coming with our top of the line PTZ camera and the entire Visca control protocol within your touch panel. It also has a room scheduler on the front, which shows if the meeting room is active or inactive. It will have our Dante amplifier, a 4x4 or 8x8 port. So to be able to have several different options for those audio sources and all the other complications that can come with it. Or if you just want a professional look with that Alta package at the beginning, this will just give you the ability to switch between 4 HDMI sources, bring your own devices, have all the cabling throughout your setup, and just have an easy meeting room launch, but somewhere you didn't have it before. And as we talked about those IKEA manuals before, this is a look at our Alta package. So even if you have zero background on it, whether you're the one installing it or you're the one that has to work on it in the future and want to upgrade, or a cable goes bad or years in the future, what have you, the simple manuals and simple labeling that we have within the instructions will always be something that is able to be a great reference point alongside making it ease for install. And then the only reason this is all possible is because of our Icon Easy Control invented back in 2023. So though it has only been around for a couple of years, we are already in several projects out in the field of that 400 plus clientele that we had shown earlier in the slideshow. And it comes with our award winning back in 2024 at the Infocom conference, our Easy Control, which is called Easy Control because it's just in plain English, as you see here on the bottom. We are able to have these push-go packages and offer custom programming because of this ease of the languaging for this direct JavaScript translation. So there's two options when you get to the user interface of your Icon IDE, whether you want to copy strings over from JavaScript and directly write it into there, or you just want to use our drag down options. It gives you the options here, which you see in the two examples on the bottom of the slide, the call driver for sending a TX string or the conditional. All those were written not only in plain English, but via drop downs and via just mouse clicking. Because as you continue to go through the string within your easy language, the options become less and less, and they're only limited to the events or features that are programmed into the driver on the back end done for you. So as you continue to go down the line, the selections get less and less, and it does not allow you to make a mistake and have that loaded to the controller. Alongside the easy language, it also has easy graphic creation and easy automation as well. So as you see on the bottom, the components for the different button sizes, we also offer the templates, which is hidden in the back of that picture there. But if you have a previous project or you just want one of our push-go packages sent to you for the layout, we would be able to package up anything you want. The entire project just looks wise. If you need to change the actual functionality of the buttons, your whole interface could just be done for you, and then it's just filling in those puzzle pieces. Alongside that, we also have a variety of system features, whether that is easy language for the variable creation, so defining strings, integer, bool statements for all these conditionals, functions as well, alongside timers and schedulers. So all of our controllers, even the interfaces, come with the central processor installed in it as well. So whether that's our 4-inch wall plate, 10-inch touch panel, any of our controllers that have a front interface on it will have the central processor on it, So you can add an additional master control processor if you need more ports. But if everything is over LAN or you only need one or two RS-232 ports, for example, we can just offer you one port expander, but the bulk of the price and the bulk of the controller necessities are already in that interface. And then this would be, as opposed to the user interface, which we were looking at before, this is the project manager. So it's a clean, consolidated organization of your, on the right, going right to left, I should say, is your entire database of products that you have added to your icon software. So whether it's from previous projects or you add them all to one, you will have them all on the right side. And then if you transfer them over to the left, which is the device explorer for the specific project you are working on, which is shown at the top here, the ISE 2024 is our example picture. It will show the connection status of all Ethernet or COM ports. It will show the IP address of everything that's in there directly, so that if you have an error as something as simple as the port number being wrong or the IP address being inaccurate, it will be editable right there as opposed to within all of your individual buttons, strings, or anything like that. And then lastly, we offer a test drive package, which is to try out any PureLink product for 30 days. So whether that is you want to see this controller software like we were just talking about, you want to see an entire push-go package, or you just want to see the specs of one of our simple extenders or our cross-platform matrix switchers. We offer plenty on purelink.av.com, and we will be happy to get in touch with you, figure out what specs will be exactly what you need for your project. And from that point, we'd be able to allow you to actually have it hands-on, be able to see it within your setup, see if it's the right thing for you. So that pretty much wraps it up here for our webinar today. But we would still love to be in touch with you and hear more from you. And if there's any questions, I will be happy to answer them here. I should check that now. But join us at the PureLink community, whether LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, what have you. We're constantly posting on there alongside our YouTube channel, which is continuing to grow in product development videos to see what's newest and what's upcoming, alongside how-to tutorials. If we are so lucky to have any of you jump into our controller options, or if you just want to see what the newest specs of our products are and what's coming down the line. And you could also contact us if you have any specific questions. sales@purelink.av.com or our phone number 201-488-3232. We'd be happy to answer any sales related questions, or if you have any technical support related questions, feel free to ask for me individually. I am Tyler from the technical support team, as mentioned before. I would be happy to go over anything that we went over in this presentation today, or send you the slide deck, or if you want to get more into the nitty gritty of what our control capabilities are and what projects I personally or another member of our team have worked on, we'd be happy to go over that. So that will do it. I will keep this open for just a couple more minutes if there are any other questions, but thank you so much for the time, and come back next week. I believe the 22nd is our next, for another member of our team will be going over the importance of HDMI still in today's day and age of AV. But thank you for joining us.